Boy got the Luigi mic. I got the Mario mic.
I prefer to call it the Waluigi mic and the Luigi mic.
Waluigi.
Waluigi.
Wario and Waluigi.
Let me dish this gum. Go ahead and give us the intro.
Guys, in case you were already questioning the credibility of this podcast, my brother didn't know the difference between Waluigi and Wario. Do you know Bowser Jr.?
Welcome back to the Park Score podcast. Do I know Bowser Jr.?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I know Bowser Jr.
He was always my go-to in Mario Kart.
We had a cousin, Jake, who would... Do you ever hear Jake talk about Toad on Mario Kart? He would be so serious at Thanksgiving. He'd be like, dude, Toad is the best in the whole game. So serious.
And it's like there's like literally zero difference in like character speed.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference in like handling. There's a difference in...
Really?
Yeah. They have like different stats and stuff.
I was never really a big nerd when it came to that. I was just like, yeah, let me get Bowser Jr. and then like
But you were a gamer though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't care.
I was talking to
Oh wait, hold up.
I was talking to Dad the other day. And let's
Just show them what we're drinking real quick, and then you can continue your story.
straight black coffee. Ready?
Drinking black
Clink.
coffee. Black coffee. I beat you.
Oh.
Would you get grounds in there?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
I got a little bit of grounds in there. Welcome to the Park Score podcast.
Bro, you know it's a good cup of coffee when like that first sip, it's like, oh my gosh. Like it like hits you. You're like,
So what was I gonna say? I was talking to Dad the other day, and I was telling him how I just can't care about video games anymore.
yeah.
I just can't do it. Can't make myself. There was a good year, right, where anytime I would try to play, I would like start playing Skyrim. I would start playing some game, and I would be like, oh my gosh, like probably 10 minutes in, I would get this overwhelming sense of I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't shake it. I'd be like, well, no, this is just a little pastime. I'm just winding down. But I would just it was like dread. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna die. I'm going to die. Anyways, chicks like Minecraft.
They do.
Minecraft, and I think Minecraft is honestly it's a bit forgivable. Like that one I actually kind of do see as like one you could just wind down. And it's just because it's so low stakes. It's so simple and innocent.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, it makes no, it is fully transparent about the fact that, like, yes, this is a virtual world. Yes, this is an escape. You're building a little house. Yeah. You're building a little house out of dirt. One thing I would hate is so we played, like, Minecraft, like, all me and my roommates in the past. And they would build, like, these houses out of dirt. And they would get, like, pissed off at me because I would, like, try to get real artsy with the house.
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to build something cool, man.
And they would get a little bit salty. They would be like I was trying to flex on them or whatever.
What I would always do is I would just find the coolest, like, natural structure. Like, if it's, like, a big lake or something, or, like, a beach, or there's, like, a mountain on the map, and just find a way to build my house into that. So, like, I would, like, if there's, like, a mountain, there was one time I, like, dug into the whole mountain and, like, had, like, a Superman, like, Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always cool. Yeah, go ahead.
It's funny, though, because me and Allie, we went through, like, so during the summer, she goes back home, right? So we're, like, 3 hours away. And so we were doing, like, long distance. So we would play Minecraft together. Like, we would hop on a phone call and then play Minecraft together. Yeah. And it's funny because, like, usually you see the memes where it's like me in a mine, like, you know, fighting creepers and, like, finding all this cool stuff, and then like my girlfriend like in Minecraft in the home decorating. But she was like, I would like be like going just like exploring, like trying to find villages or like whatever. She would be like in a 2-hour mine, just being like, "Yo, dude, I just found gold."
Gender roles subverted in Minecraft.
Completely like immersed in the mine.
Hell yeah.
Never coming back.
She yearns for the mines.
You know it's a good mine whenever you die down there.
Yeah.
You don't stop mining until you die somehow.
Yeah.
And then you realize that all of your treasures you've now found are like...
I remember when we first got Minecraft, it was like Minecraft on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And there was no mobs other than zombies. There was there was like nothing but like a crafting table and a stove. There was nothing in the game. And I remember we played it for days straight before we figured out how to make like torches. So it's like it's like, you know how like actual humans had to like learn how to make fire and stuff. Yeah. And so for the first however many years of human existence, like they're without fire, they're without civilization.
I literally still remember how that map is laid out.
Oh yeah, I remember we had like a whole lore built. One time we gaslit our friend that there was a glitch in the game where like, so we had this whole world, okay? Mm-hmm. Every corner of this world had a big, massive structure to it. There was a mansion, there was a prison, there was a lighthouse, there was a...
And it was like the old school like pocket editions, they were like, there was a limited map. You can only go so far. So it's like, literally we had...
corner to corner.
Colonized. There was not a part of the map we had not like put some like man-made structure on.
There was a sea, there was a fortress on the sea.
Yeah.
There was a island that had a haunted house on it. Like the whole thing was themed. It was very creative. There was a prison.
Yeah, there was a prison.
There was a snow fortress. Anyways, so me and Kason, we had this idea to create this whole, almost like we created like a campaign for our buddy.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is going to be so much more fun for him.
Because he like doesn't realize
if he doesn't realize that this is us orchestrating this. So we set up this whole campaign where like a glitch comes into the game and has all this overpowered armor.
Yeah. And we like hit a chest with a bunch of diamond swords and arrows.
We did all this stuff where like you have to select your class and and there's this whole underworld.
Oh yeah, bro, I forgot that.
Underworld thing. And we gaslit the hell out of our friend. I think to this day he probably still doesn't know. So like I was the glitch running around that was like overpowered and stuff and just killing them. I remember we would get into like a squabble and then I would retreat. And the main thing was we wanted to keep it going. And they would always have way underpowered armor to face the glitch. And the glitch would always get away and then heal up. And so I remember at one point, Kason, you were like, it was like the 5th or 6th time that we had squabbled and like I like retreat and you go and the main pretense here, because obviously I'm sitting in there, I'm playing the game with them. I told them I was trapped in a mine and I had no materials. I couldn't dig my way out. So I was stuck. That was the whole pretense, right? And Kason was like, oh, Parks, like, I wonder how much life this thing has left. And I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. And he was like, yeah, but if you had to guess, you were like, do you remember that? You don't remember that? You were like, for real, like getting like a little bit frustrated where you're like, yeah, but I mean, if you had to guess, how much life do you think it has left? And I was like, I don't know. Like, but
fighting for my life.
To this day, our friend will still be like, yo, dude, you guys remember that shit? That was crazy.
A glitch in the game.
Yeah.
Bro, do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but like in the Pocket Edition, there wasn't like a nether, like you couldn't go to the nether, but I guess they had like an event where you build. You remember we like built this structure?
It would build this big
like nether tower.
Yeah.
Bro, that was crazy.
No, yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, I guess we could talk about the fact that like Minecraft is in the news. I know I just now said I don't care about video games. Then we proceeded to talk about video games for the first part of the pod.
Dope.
Minecraft is dope, and I'm not even mad. So I heard that the Minecraft movie is going to gross like 1 billion. That's insane for a movie. That's. I don't think you guys understand how crazy that is. That's like
No, yeah, that is
more than a damn Marvel movie. Like, yeah, and like some people are mad about it. Bro, who cares? Who cares if a movie does well? Movie theaters are dying anyway. I'm just glad to see that people are like...
Shout out Jack Black, too, man.
Yeah, shout out Jack Black. I mean, people are mad at him because he kind of threw his bandmate under the bus after the whole Donald Trump comment. But one thing about Jack Black is he's going to get that check.
That dollar bill?
He's going to get that check.
Cello.
And then what else is in the news? Pope Francis passed away. What else is in the news?
Green Day's mad because they weren't headlining Coachella.
Oh, really?
Did you see that? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that. I've never been a big Green Day fan.
Nah, me either.
Yeah,
they just like it's like literally just like the like
punk anti George Bush. Fuck you, George Bush.
You want to be an American idiot?
Yeah, I feel like liberalism has been stuck in the whole anti-George Bush thing for like a minute now. I honestly think that I think that they kind of overplayed their hand with all the George Bush hate, because then when Donald Trump came onto the scene, obviously there's a lot of Trump derangement syndrome, but like I feel like they were calling George Bush a Nazi, they call Donald Trump a Nazi, but clearly these are not even close to the same. Like George Bush is way more establishment, like neocon, like globalist than Trump is. So I don't know, but
yeah, just I don't know. Their music, the sheer virtue of the fact that they have an album called Dookie, like I know that's like their greatest album of all time or whatever, but it's just like you name your album shit.
Dude, well, I mean, like, okay, so we're in the punk scene for a very long time. You see that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, all of it is like toilet humor, and it's like, but that's the thing is, I think there is a disposition that some people have where they know that they can't make anything that's like objectively beautiful, and so they try to act like they're above doing that, and they just create things that are intentionally ugly or intentionally disgusting, because it's like, oh well, it got a reaction, didn't it? Then it must be art. And it's like, look, you're entitled to that, right? I'm not going to disagree that good art doesn't tend to get a reaction. However, can we all just agree it's harder, it's more difficult to produce things that are actually beautiful? Like, I don't think that shouldn't be controversial. Like, stuff should be beautiful. Stuff we make should be beautiful.
It's like the kid in school.
Like legalize comedy. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. No, I'm kidding.
No, I was trying to play into the bit by like not having a reaction to it.
What? Oh, to what I said?
Yeah, just letting it like ring out in silence.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well, that's very.
It's
true to reality.
Man, what was I gonna say?
You were talking about
it's like the kid in school who's like, oh well, I could do it if I wanted to, but I just don't want to.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah,
okay, then I don't care.
No, exactly. You're getting a phone call.
And like
Mayberry advisor, you need to take that. Go ahead and take it. Put it on speaker.
Hello.
So while Kaysen is answering this phone call.
It was not an important call. I keep on getting calls for this lady. I'm not going to disclose her information, but it's the same name over and over. And so I don't know, if it's telemarketers, it's one thing, whatever. I'll take the phone calls to a lady. But like some of it's like medical stuff.
Medical stuff?
Like
health insurance? Like they're calling about your health insurance?
Which that could also be a scam, but I'm like, hey, what if somebody's got like an actual phone call for this lady that they got to make, and they're like, hi, is this such and such? And I'm like, piss off, and I just hang up, and that poor lady doesn't get that phone call.
I was a telemarketer for a couple months. That was like my second job ever.
Yeah.
And I got kind of lucky at that position. I got like $1,000 donation. So what we had to do is we had to ask alumni from the school. It was through the school. We had to ask them for donations. And people would always be like, people shackled with student loan debt are like,
yeah,
I just now gave this school $250,000. Why do you guys need more of my money? So that taught me how to do cold outbound.
Yeah.
What scamming people from a call center taught me about cold outbound sales?
Yeah, it's like one of the worst jobs because it's like,
they hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're starting out, like literally, it's a cold call because you're like starting out kind of on the bad side.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think.
What time were you calling them to?
What time?
Yeah. It'd be like late in, like not late at night, but like evening, right?
So we would call from, I think, 6 to 9. So when people are off work. Now, here's the thing I would never understand is people would pick up, hello? And I'd be like, hey, this is so-and-so with the university. Do you have, how much time to talk? And they would instantly go, you called me right in the middle of dinner. And all I can think is, you picked up the phone in the middle of dinner. What are you doing? Like, just don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I can't imagine picking up a phone call and then getting mad at the person because I'm on the phone call. Like, I just ignore my phone. I think, and I'm being so serious right now. I think we're like kind of at a point in 2025 where I don't think people know that you can just click off, put it away. That Maddie will like go make a trip to the gas station, and I'll be like, hey, whatever. I'll ask her if she can like do something on her phone, and she'll be like, why don't you have your phone with you? I'm like, I just left it at home, and she's shocked that I left it at home, but I'm like, you don't, like, for almost in the entirety of human history, you haven't had a phone on you. Like, even our parents, like even our generation, there was a time where, part of the time you don't have a phone on you,
No, bro, and it's I mean, it's
not to sound like a boomer.
No, but I mean, it's dumb, but like, yeah, sometimes even if it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go take a walk around the little loop right here. I like intentionally leave my phone at home because I'm like, I don't even want to like risk. Not even that I don't want to risk, but I'm like, I'm just not going to give myself the option at all to even have this on me or even think about this.
Yeah, and the problem is, so the other day, Maddie had kind of like an emergency that like needed to, it would have been nice if I'd have my phone on me instantly, and I got to it like maybe 30 minutes later. And the thing is like, you're kind of faced with this dilemma of, something could happen.
Yeah.
An emergency could happen. Family or loved one could need me, and I'm without this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I get to it 15 minutes, 30 minutes later than I should. But then there's also the question of like, does that mean that I have a moral obligation to like always have it on me and always be able to respond? Because then, okay, picture this. We get to a point where everyone has Neuralink, right? Mm-hmm. And I imagine that this is my prediction. Neuralink is going to come around. There's going to be some application on Neuralink where me and you can plug straight into one another's thoughts. Sci-fi, whatever. I know. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but just
you can lock in with Twin.
You can lock in with Twin virtually. Humor me though, okay? There's an app where I can immediately read your thoughts or whatever thoughts you decide to make public. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a point where it becomes like a social expectation that you're always making yourself available.
Yeah.
And if you go off grid, then it's like, oh, well, I can't reach him now. And, what if there's an emergency? So now I have to So you're telling me I always have to have my thoughts publicly open to the cloud now, or I'm a bad person? Is that, and clip this, I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like, that's where we're at with this. Yeah. I mean, it would have been inconceivable 10 years ago that like,
you got to have that thing on.
You got to have it on you, and you got to be ready to respond, or, you're like not a good brother, or you're not a good friend, or what, you see what I'm saying? Like, it gets to a point where you're kind of, you're socially obligated to respond quickly. And I was thinking about it the other day. It is honestly, I saw a video of these like girls. They were like some Amish girls or something, and they were asking the girls, "Who's Batman?" They were asking about celebrities, and they said, "Who's Batman?" And the girl was like, "A scary guy," and because they just don't know, they're not. They don't.
Wayne, idiot.
But they don't know because they don't have to know, and they have no. Yeah. They live off grid, and I was really thinking about it. I was like, damn, the luxury of today is not needing a phone. The luxury, because you have to have a phone and a computer to make money. You have to have a phone and a computer to like even survive. But like and I'm not saying that these Amish girls are the epitome of luxury or wealth or whatever, anything like that. But if you're wealthy enough, you have like a passive income stream, you can just turn off your phone, go live in the woods for like a month, and you're fine.
No, and I wouldn't say that like, they're like the highest class of society because they don't have to have their phone. But it's like, that is one of the benefits in living that lifestyle, is that like, I don't have to worry about what this dork is saying on Twitter. Yeah,
well, but also too, it's like, I think people go a little bit too far and they romanticize it to the point where they're like, like people will romanticize what's it called, where there's essentially, you're just reverting back to previous forms of living, where people are like, we need to go back to the Stone Age. That's when humanity was really at its peak, right? You know what I'm saying? Like those people, revivalists or whatever it's called.
Where it's like you'll see that one's like TikTok where it's like, why I love the 1950s. Stuff was built to last.
You have this kind of immature thought of like, we just need to go back. Yeah. We just need to go back.
We need to revert.
But here's the thing is like, if you go far enough back, there's not aspirin. Yeah. There's not, I don't know, like refrigerated food. So the answer, I don't think, is going back. I think it's just having the option to having the option to participate in certain levels, or having the option not to participate in certain levels, like having your phone on you 24/7 or having it constantly. But
it's like I'm not necessarily anti-technology, kill all technology. I just want to not need it.
Right.
Like that's my thing with everything. I'm not like, I don't want to be like with if I need to take this medicine, if I'm sick and I need to take medicine, I'll take the medicine. But I don't want someone to like tell me, you need this medicine to be normal. You got to take this pill every day to be normal. And I'm like, nah, I think I'll just figure it out. Like, whatever I got to do. Like, and if I got to take that medicine, I got to take that medicine. But I would like to not have to take something. I would like to not need something every day.
Okay, you just reminded me of something. So the other day, me and Maddie were going through, there's this TikTok genre. So people like to talk about, like, religious trauma today.
Yeah.
And there's this whole genre. If you go and look this up on TikTok, there's this whole genre of person who talks about religious trauma. Oh, I have all this religious trauma, and it was forced on me, and I was brainwashed, and this and that, and they it was this oppressive system. And they'll talk about religious trauma, and they'll be like, I'm so much better now. And then they'll talk about like how they have anxiety, depression. They're on all these SSRIs. They have these weird personality disorders. And it's like it's crazy now, because I feel like there's so many people who are have objectively a lot of mental issues, who demand that we like opt into their framework of like, like everyone needs to be going to therapy.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to have some amount of like medication. Everyone needs to do this, which if you need those things, if you truly need those things, like more power to you. I'm glad that we have that available. However, I think if your framework is one where
I need this.
or not that you need it, but like everyone who adopts your framework or your worldview ends up on SSRIs or ends up with these weird like mental disorders, maybe it's not working. Like, but that's the thing is, like, but anyways, this religious trauma thing they were going through, and they'd be like, yeah, my parents would force me. They would force me to wear pants when I like they would force me to get up by 11 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday and wear pants. And then we sat there and and I'm like, bro, like that's not religious trauma. Religious trauma, like, or people would just objectively make stuff up. They'd be like, my mom, there's a lot of them where they'll be like, I was convinced that I was a prophet and that I was hearing straight from God and that he was telling me that I, need to go save mankind and I'm going to be the next Virgin Mary. And like a lot of them said stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, like you need to stop smoking weed. Like you need to stop smoking weed. Okay. Because that's not religious. That's nothing wrong with the religion per se. That's you being an insane person. But then they turn right around and go, I'm so much better now that I'm medicated and I'm doing all the therapy. It's like, dude, it doesn't sound like there's anything wrong with either one of these frameworks necessarily. It sounds like you are kind of an inherently unstable person. And I don't know, it's just, maybe I got on a tangent there, but
no, I think
I don't mean to like criticize anybody too hard, but like,
I think, so I might be skating on thin ice here. I'm just going to go for it. I'll hear like, oh, well, like I saw one time on Yik Yak, it's like one where you like post anonymously and like, universities and stuff have them. It's like just those, it's basically Twitter, but it's anonymous. And people were talking about Christianity and people were like, oh, well, like give me one good reason to like be a Christian or whatever. And somebody was like, well, Jesus loves you. And they said, well, my, when I was, blah, blah. And that's terrible. That is awful. And I hope he, but that is not, you ask any Christian, part of the religion is not, oh yeah, like that's not a Christian thing. I ask any Christian, that's a terrible, awful thing that's happened to you. But that's not like...
Okay, you hit on a good point, which is that when you're looking at any given worldview, you gotta. I think there's two sides to this, right? So, our Lord says you'll know them by their fruits, right? You'll know a false teacher by their fruits, which to me, on a practical level, means you'll know if a given worldview is good, if the results of like if there are good fruits from it, like if there are good fruits from the worldview. But there's a question of how authentically is that worldview being lived out? Is it being lived out hypocritically? Because if it's being lived out hypocritically or not authentically, then the fruits are going to be bad. But then also when you're criticizing a worldview, you have to actually look at it as an ideal,
right?
Not as it's imperfectly played out by human beings. And also, like, there's this thing now where people will say, me and Maddie. So we started watching these. You ever see those that series Surrounded, where it'll be like an expert in a given topic or like a influencer or whoever, and then like 20 people who disagree, and they'll all run up and they'll debate them, in sequence. So one thing that kept being said throughout all of these, it would be like there would be some controversial opinion put forth. People would run up and they'd be like, yeah, well, in my personal experience, it's actually been the opposite. In my personal experience, this thing actually happened. And you're saying this, but actually it was the opposite. And I'm like, and always, never fails, the person who's defending the position would always say, well, I can't discount your personal experience, but, and then go on with the argument. I think that like in some cases, we can discount people's personal experiences because people lie.
Yeah.
People lie to make a case like that. Like with the religious trauma thing on TikTok, people will be like, "Yeah, I was carving the name Jesus into my chest because a spirit was blah blah blah, and I had mental illness because of this." And it's like, okay, but like you're showing your chest right now. There's no scar. There's no scaration or scarification. Are you lying? Because like people lie. People lie. People lie. Like so okay, like in court do they say, okay, give your testimony, right? And the person tells what happened. Mm-hmm. But then we later figure out that they lied. They lied under oath to cover their ass or to make a point or whatever. So like I don't understand why people will be like, well, I can't discount your personal experience, but blah 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 blah. It's like, I mean, in some cases, we can discount a personal experience.
Yeah, I think it's like you always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And like
definitely.
In a discussion, you always
want to have empathy. You want to have mercy.
Yeah, and like in a discussion, you always want to take everybody's like kind of thoughts into consideration. You never want to instantly assume somebody's lying, but sometimes in cases like that where it's like, okay, why do you hate Christianity? Oh well. When I was 6, my church actually dragged me from the back of a pickup truck by a rope.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't believe you. 2, that's like saying why do you hate the Houston Texans? Well, one time I went to a Texans game and then on my way home I got mugged. It's like, all right, well that's not like a usual circumstance that happens at Texans games, man.
Well, and it's just like I think that a lot of people, in order to defend their worldview, are not necessarily above telling lies to make a case for the worldview. Like for example, like I think that some people in their worldview believe even if what I'm saying is not truthful, the result of the lie is it's kind of a utilitarian worldview where it's like, even if what I'm saying is not truthful, the result of the lie will have enough of a positive impact where it doesn't really matter if I'm not
got it immorally.
If I'm giving a false witness or something like that. So it's like, oh, it's just like it's a greater good, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people think that like Christianity started that way, like, oh well, because people will be like, oh, Christianity is not true. And then somebody goes, well, actually, the apostles went to their death defending the resurrection. So would you go to your death defending a lie? And then I think some people just assume that some people would go to their death defending a lie because the result of the lie would be better for people or whatever. I don't know. It's easy to get mixed up, like when you're considering it all, but like, I mean, like, I think people lie sometimes. I think it's...
Yeah.
I think, like, when we say, oh, I can't discount your personal experience, I think, like, definitely you could or should take into account, like, the credibility of that person, their personal history. Like, you should... I think there's a quality to certain, like, witnesses. Like, there's a range in quality. Because also, like, when a person lies, the reason you shouldn't lie is not even necessarily because lying is objectively bad or anything like that. There are cases where lying can, like if someone is looking to kill your friend and you lie about the location of your friend, I would say that that's morally acceptable. So it's there are some cases where it's morally acceptable to lie. But I completely lost my train of thought. That caffeine shot really just hit me hard. Boy. But no. So what I was going to say is the reason why you shouldn't lie is not because it's objectively always 100% bad, but because when you do lie, you cheapen like the quality of your witness in the future. So you make it more difficult to actually defend the people you love. You make it more difficult to defend the truth, defend beauty, all those sorts of things. That's why you shouldn't lie. Not because it's,
Bro,
and
another thing too is like, it's like, oh, I can't discredit your like personal, view, idea, whatever. But like, people also don't remember stuff, right? Like people forget major details or don't understand the full picture. Like, bro, like literally, you have you ever seen that thing where it's like, I think it was like Brain Games or something, and they were like this big park full of people, and somebody got, this guy ran by and stole this lady's purse, and like, the cops, like, these fake cops walk up and they're like, okay, what was the guy wearing? And he's like wearing a red hoodie, and like half of them said, oh, he was wearing a green shirt, and the other half were like, he had a blue sweater on, and it's like, people just don't remember. People are
right. And so like, I'm not saying that like we should go around just being like, oh, your personal experience is invalid, your personal experience is invalid. What I'm saying is like, even my own personal experience, I think is not beyond I'm not above even calling my own personal experience into question, because I know I'm a biased person. Like I'm a flawed person.
Yeah, and it's a personal experience, so it's gonna be biased towards, like, you ask most people if they get robbed, they're not gonna go, well, he probably had like a starving daughter at home.
Well, you ever seen the bike cuck meme?
Oh,
the bike cuck where he's like, my bike got stolen today, but me losing my bike, my happiness like decreased a little, but the person who got a new bike, their happiness must have increased a lot. So objectively, the world's a better place now. Guess I don't need my bike after all. People call it the bike cuck meme because the guy's yeah, it's like, it's just a common
Lay wholesome chungus.
Lay wholesome chungus, yeah.
Lay wholesome. Sir, you've won the internet today. Here's your internet award for today.
Here's your Reddit gold.
What's one time you won the internet?
I have no idea. One time I won the internet because me and Kaysen, I was in high school, and we posted, there was the Chum Bucket versus Krusty Krab meme.
Oh, yeah.
And we posted, Kaysen said, I was like going to do one where, I don't know, George Strait was the Chum Bucket and some other artist was the Krusty Krab. And Kaysen was like, no, put Luke Bryan as the Krusty Krab. And I was like, yo, that's hilarious. And so I put it, and people had a freaking meltdown. That's like the most viral thing I've ever posted ever. My phone, the notifications, it started glitching up, and my phone just froze up and died. And then finally when it came back on, like for the next week, it was just like flooded. I had to pause my notifications on Twitter. And then to this day, I will still get messages on Twitter. It'll be like, message request. Be like, oh, nice, cool. Wonder who this is. Click on it. Self. I'm just like, yeah. Or people. And then I remember, this is like totally off topic, but some dude commented and was like, or he DM'd me and he was like, hey dude, did you make this yourself? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, dude, could you do one where you put Eminem on the Krusty Krab and I don't know, like Macklemore on the Chum Bucket? And I'm like, no. I'm like, you do it. I made this
in Snapchat.
Yeah, bro. I made it in Snapchat. I was like, bro. You do it. You do it. Why? Bro, but like that's.
No, what's funny about that is it's like such a stupid, like, it's the meme is literally just Luke Bryan good, George Strait bad, right? Yeah. And people, that debate, or it's been like kind of coined as like the GOAT debate, where it's like MJ or LeBron. And I guarantee you turn on SportsCenter or ESPN right now, and Stephen A. Smith's on First Take, irate because I don't even know who his guy is in the GOAT debate. But like, it's so, I don't know, it's in like modern kind of basketball or more nuanced basketball platforms. It's almost like clowned, and it's like a parody to be like, okay, guys, today we're gonna talk about who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They
why do I care? Especially because it's like with like music too. It's like, oh well, because in basketball you can say, well, Michael Jordan had more, but like music, I mean, you could bring up like Luke Bryan hit the Billboard Top 100 charts, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't care.
No, and there's this other thing too where people will in those debates they'll just start like quantifying, like trying to quantify it, be
Yeah.
like, oh well, he has this stat, and it's like, to me that betrays the most dweebish disposition toward reality of like, oh well, if we just have the right formula, we can calculate who's great. It's like,
Yeah, bro.
like I don't think greatness is something that you can quantify necessarily.
Nah, bro. Like on Raiders Twitter, a big thing is like all off season we were wondering who the quarterback's gonna be, and we had this one guy. He was decent, but like wasn't great. He was objectively an okay quarterback though, right? And like I would post like, oh, I'm really excited because we got a new guy and I think he's gonna be really good. And somebody will be like, oh well, Aiden O'Connell's QBR is actually the same, if not higher than Geno Smith's QBR. And it's like, dog, there's so much stuff that goes into stats. Stats lie. Okay, stats lie. You like, do not get in my DMs talking about QBR, bro. I don't care. Watch the game. Turn on the tape, bro. Watch a Geno Smith, one drive of Geno Smith playing football, and watch one drive of Aiden O'Connell playing football, and tell me Aiden O'Connell's a better quarterback. You can't. And and it's just such a lame. I don't know. It's such a lame kind of argument too. Oh well, the quarterback rating is actually about. Dude, I don't care. I don't care. It I don't know, and it's worse. You get into like baseball and basketball, and they have like all those advanced stats. Like, it's like the efficiency per play. Well, on mid range shots in the third quarter, his efficiency is. And I'm like, dude, is he nice or no? Like that's literally it's one of the things where it's like the like kind of bell curve meme where it's like he nice, and then in the top it's like, oh well, his efficiency per play on first down runs is, and then like at the bottom the like, or all the way to the side, the smartest one is just like, oh, he nice. That's literally like bro, do not get in my comments talking about efficiency per play. Do not get in my comments talking about some QBR. Don't get in there talking about some Pro Football Focus score. Dude, I don't care. Turn on the tape and get out of my DMs, bro. Stop playing on my phone, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a I think that you gotta just psyop yourself into just enjoying things simply.
Yeah.
You try to complicate it with like the midwit like analysis, and it's just really is sucks the fun out of it. So hey, on the topic of like our own personal stuff, I was going to talk about. So we recently did some shows. We did a show at a swimming pool. We played a show at a swimming pool, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Crowd wasn't necessarily feeling it.
Was not our vibe.
Yeah. Not necessarily our usual like demographic in terms of like genre. And then also we played another show at like a park.
Yeah.
On like a wooden stage. It's pretty cool.
That one was good.
We had some sound done for us. We got not that good a video of it. And then so you're about to be leaving here in a couple weeks. So we've been working on trying to record our own album. Because instead of spending money on a studio session, we're like, we got this Zoom recording right here. We can record straight into it. We tried to do some demos yesterday. So we got about a month, a little bit less than a month to create our own DIY studio.
I mean, even if it doesn't, like, even if it's not within the month, we still have. It's not like we have a deadline for the album.
No, we don't have a deadline for the album, but I think that
setting a
deadline is just good for anything that you do, because it's so easy to push stuff off, and I think done is better than perfect. But yeah, we tried to do a little bit of soft mixing yesterday, and it was good. Yeah. I think number one, I think the take that we did, I think our timing, we weren't like necessarily in the pocket with one another. And then also the mix itself and the recording was kind of not great.
Yeah. Well, dude, like, there's only so much we can do. I want it to, like, obviously I love the super kind of raw, like, unpolished sound, right? And I think that's dope. But I think get it as close to like sounding good as possible, as close to perfect as possible. Cut out all the, like, kind of just, I don't know, all the background noise. That's what I was trying to say, like, try to get as close to isolation with each mic and each, like, element as possible, and tweak it a little bit. But at the end of the day, just recording an album like that, it's going to sound like, no matter how much, makeup you put on it, it's going to sound like a garage recording. It's going to sound like us playing live. And, I mean, that's fine. Like, the Bad Brains did it with Black Dots, and it's like, that's an awesome album.
Yeah.
Bro, that's insane. They basically did that in one sitting.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a really well-practiced set list, it's not inconceivable.
They were sharp.
They were very sharp.
I heard Rick Rubin say something the other day, though, and somebody asked him about, like, drum sounds. I'm like, what kind of drum sounds do you like? And he was like, oh, I really like the AC/DC Back in Black drum sounds. Those are, like, great, just rock and roll drum sounds. And then he was talking about, but, like, whenever I get into a studio and I have a kit, I'm not trying to mic it up and I'm not trying to make it sound like the AC/DC Back in Black sound. Even though I love that, he said, like, whatever equipment you have, whatever, drum kit you have, and guitar amp you have, whatever sound it does best, whatever you have to do to that, however you mic it up, however you, set the EQ for it to sound the best, to get the best sound out of it, just do that, with each element, and something cool will happen. Instead of saying, okay, so I want, like, the drums to sound like AC/DC Back in Black, and I want the guitars to sound like Led Zeppelin 2, and then the bass, I want it to sound like, you just say, okay, what's the best sound we can get out of the drums? Find that. Okay, what's the best sound we can get out of this guitar and this amp, right? Find that. Okay, what's the best sound we can get out of this bass? Okay, and then all of that together, whatever, all of these elements at their best sounds like, will be something cool. Instead of trying to imitate someone else who did something cool, with not the same equipment, or even if it's the same equipment, like, it'll just be different circumstances, and just trying to replicate this thing. I think it might sound cool, but you won't get the best out of that piece or that kind of element.
Yeah. Another thing that I've been kind of focusing on lately, so I moved into a new place, and obviously that's where we're recording the album that we're doing. And I've been thinking lately a lot about how if I can just set up that space to be as efficient as possible, like, so obviously when we set all this stuff up, it took some setup, and it's going to take some breakdown, and that's going to cut into time I could use to produce more work. And I think that with this new space, one thing I really want to try to focus on is just having everything's set up so that all I got to do is sit down and just start creating rather than set everything up, create, break everything down. Anything.
No,
because I call that friction.
Yeah.
That's friction. It's things that get in between you starting the work and actually completing the work.
Because like to create, it takes energy, right? And so what you want to do is as soon as you get that spark or that idea or like, okay, I need to go create something, you want to spend as least energy as possible on everything else so that you have energy to create this thing.
Yeah.
And that's like, bro, when so I'm doing those Raiders videos and I used to do it in this shop and I would come in here, set up the camera, set up the table, move the bear in the corner, the background, make sure I have my script written, lighting, all this stuff. And then afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. And I would do the episode, done with the episode, now I got to break it all down. And Eric said something on this podcast like a couple episodes ago, and it didn't hit me in the moment, but I was rewatching and I was like, bro, that's actually genius. He was like, just set up a corner in your room with all your stuff. Even if it's a super condensed, like kind of rougher version of the studio you have going on right now, but just so where you can just sit down and boom, hit record and just start going. And that's what I did. And it looks super weird in my room because it's like a side table, and then I have a big Raiders flag I use as my like backdrop, and it's like on the middle of my wall. It looks super weird if you like actually go in my room and look at it. But it's made recording so easy because all I have to do is just set up camera right there, and then push a chair in that corner, and just like go.
And so, I think all that speaks to this idea of reducing friction.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're a creative or somebody who's wanting to do some sort of creative project or even build a business, whatever it is, I think reducing friction is probably one of the number one things that you can do. Mm-hmm. And so, give you another example in terms of writing. So, for a while now, I've been wanting to kind of produce a body of work because, in short, if you write long form, it just helps you with everything else. It helps you create short form. It helps you develop your ideas more, whatever. So, in the past, whenever I would try to write long form, I would put it into ChatGPT and be like, hey, critique this. Tell me where it doesn't make sense. Tell me where it's not good. And I think that it is valuable. It can be valuable. Mm. But for me, where I'm at right now, it's not as valuable because I realized something yesterday while I was, I just finished up this piece and I was like, I was going to put it into ChatGPT and ask for critique. But then I was like, damn, because normally when I do that, ChatGPT gives really good critique. It'll be like, this part doesn't make sense. That part doesn't make sense. This part needs to be more developed. Mm. This part is, it'll just kind of shred it to pieces. And I figured out that because I was doing that with every single piece, I was asking ChatGPT to critique it. Mm-hmm. I was publishing nothing. I would write these big long pieces and I'd be like, man, I feel pretty good about this. I put it in ChatGPT and be like, hey, critique this. And then it would shred it. And I'd be like, damn. And I would lose all motivation to improve it. Which I think if I were a perfect writer, it wouldn't kill my motivation. It would make me want to go back in and refine it. If I had a perfect work ethic as a writer, then I think it would be a great tool to ask for critique. But I don't have a perfect work ethic as a writer. And I think probably most of you out there are in a very similar position where you get inspired to create something, and then through some great effort, you actually do create something. And then because of perfectionism, you stop short of actually publishing it, or you stop short of actually finishing it. And so yesterday, instead of asking for critique, I was like, you know what? I'm just not strong enough for that in this moment. So I'm going to just ask it to analyze this for me. Like, that way it's kind of neutral. It's like not going to shred it to pieces, but it is going to like sort of tell me a little bit about it and let me reflect on it a little bit. So I put it in there, and sure enough, it told me some strengths of the piece. It told me some weaknesses. And I was like, man, I could take another hour or more improving the weaknesses here, or I can just send it So I did like one more skim through,
Yeah.
and then I just posted it because I was like, I'm not at the size right now. I'm not at the bandwidth right now to be obsessing over every single detail. I think what's needed right now is volume and output. And so, you know, these machines are here to help us create more efficiently. They're here to help us create higher quality things. And something that exists is I would say of a higher quality than something that does not exist. So, you know, like,
well, and I think it's like you try to do as perfect as work as possible, but like if in that perfection, like it's stopping you from putting out work, then I think it's like, I don't know, it's bad for lack of a better word. Like I watched this video and it was talking about I forgot what, basically that like thought is the enemy of flow. And so it used the Beatles like as kind of a example, and it was talking about their songwriting process. Somebody would have an idea for a song, usually like John or Paul. They would bring it to the other one and they'd be like, let's work through this song today. And they would just, boom, like kind of iron out literally 75% of it and then bring it to the other band, bring it to, Ringo and George and be like, okay, this is what the song sounds like. We're just going to play it. And you guys write the drum part over it, write the little lead guitar part over it. And then we can just, be done with the song. And then they would literally, boom, bring it to them as they're, jamming on it. That's when they're writing. And then spend a day working on it. And then now that song's done. And, maybe they come back and revisit it, but 90% of the work on that song is done in the first, 48 hours. And it was talking about when Revolver was first released, like a day before it came out, Paul McCartney like listened to the whole thing front to back and then like called all the band members, was like, hey guys, we cannot release this. Like the whole album is out of tune, just because he was like overthinking it. And they basically told him like, hey bro, chill, like you're tripping. like we're about to put this album out.
Yeah. So go make something imperfect today. That's the Park Score Podcast.